Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome back. In today's video we're talking about having fun, so without further ado, sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea and let us get into the video. So boys and girls, how are we all? Welcome back to another edition of the weekly Ducati dose. It's a not so nice Tuesday, but as with everything, you have to look on the bright side, otherwise you'll end up being a sad, miserable old person, which is something I definitely will not be. Why? Because I'm on my Black Beauty. I am on my stallion of choice, my good old faithful Ducati 1098. Also in today's video we're going to be taking a bit more of an in-depth look of the trials and tribulations of owning said motorcycle. There's more than a few pros and cons. Now if you guys remember, I did a video not so long ago, well I did a two-part video of the 5 things I love about my bike and the 5 things I don't love so much about my bike. Today's video is pretty much an overview of everything that I said in both of those videos, plus a little bit more detail. First thing being obviously the things that I love, then the things I'm not so keen on, and then the things that I've done to the bike and things that I'd like to change. So the top 5 things that I love about this bike: the looks of it, number 1; the sound of it, number 2; the presence it has on the road, number 3; the engine, number 4; number 5, the sheer attention that she gets when she's parked up or when I'm riding it. There's always someone who wants to have a look at her. Doesn't matter where I am. I could be sitting here outside the whatever this is, Tesco Express, and someone will cast their eye over the bike. I'm not doing, I'll be absolutely stationary, doing absolutely nothing, sitting here minding my business, and someone will look. I can guarantee you someone looks every time. Now the 5 things that I'm not so keen on: 1, the fuel economy ain't so great; 2, the consumables are quite expensive, i.e. brake pads, spark plugs, chain and sprockets, tyres and so on. But that's to be expected because it is an 1100cc superbike. Now you won't see the likes of Troy Bayliss and Carlos Checa and Noriyuki Haga having to pay for their tyres or brake pads or whatever else, but let's face it, this is the real world. As much as I'd love to be one of those guys that could literally ride the wheels off a bike and not worry about crashing it because it doesn't belong to me or whatever, you know, I'd love to be one of those guys, but unfortunately I'm not. So, you know, this is the real world. Nothing comes for free. So that's the first thing, the price of consumables. Sorry, that's number 2. Number 1 is the fuel economy, number 2 is the amount the consumables cost. Number 3, again, it's a plus point and a minus, is the exhausts. As much as I love the noise, they can and pretty often do get me into trouble, purely because of how noisy they are. But like I say to anyone who has got an issue with loud exhausts, and I will profess this to the day I die: loud pipes save lives. I don't care whether you ride a Harley, a scooter, a 125, a 600 or even a 1000, it makes no difference. A loud exhaust will obviously out-trump a loud horn or a siren or whatever, and I would take a loud set of exhausts and have to wear earplugs over a really, really quiet standard exhaust and a loud horn. So that's number 3. Where are we? Where are we? I can't remember where I am. Number 1 was the fuel economy, 2 was the consumables, 3 the exhausts, and 4, I would have to say, sometimes the riding position can be very uncomfortable. Say for example, if I've had a long day at work, like a really, really tough day, and I've been working my arse off, sitting in a 3/4 tuck position just to get home from work can sometimes be a bit of a pain. Not necessarily on the areas that you'd expect it to be, like my wrists and elbows and knees, but actually my shoulders. And that's down to well, it's an obvious thing really, the fact that I wear a rucksack. Ideally I'd like to get away with not wearing a rucksack, but sometimes these things can't be helped. I'd like to get away with not wearing a rucksack to work, but obviously I can't work in my bike gear all day because that just looks fucking ridiculous. Is there a 5th? I don't think there's a fifth. Okay, moving on to the things that I've done to the bike. It's not a massive list because half of it was already done by the previous owner. When I bought the bike, it had a tinted screen, it had carbon fibre heat shield round by the exhausts. It didn't have any aftermarket rear sets or anything like that. I got those. Granted, they were a cheapy thing on eBay. A couple of bits and pieces that I've done. I replaced all the standard screw threaded fairing bolts with quarter turn Zeus fasteners. I also unfortunately I had to replace my screen because I somehow managed to put a plank of wood through it, so that's why I've got what I've got now instead of the big touring one that I had when I first bought the bike. Also, yeah, those red reservoir covers, carbon fibre infill panels that are here in the air ducts. Also the carbon fibre bits here that I've bunged on. These bar ends I put on. These levers came with it. The exhausts were already on it, plus obviously with it being the S model, it came with Olin's suspension front and rear, and also the Olin steering damper. The other thing that I've had done was I had some Hell braided hoses thrown on it, just on the front, because the majority of my braking I do is with the front. It's not very often you'll see me use the rear brake, unless it's for coming to a complete stop or an emergency stop, depending on the situation. So I am looking into getting a smaller number plate just to make it look a little better, to tidy up the rear end. I'm looking to get some race fairings so that I can do a track day this year, hopefully. Don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully that'll be fairly soon. So I'm also going to be trying out a few new mounting locations for the camera, which hopefully will be coming out fairly soon. I've decided that when I do a track day, I'm going to try and take a camera with me. It may not be on my helmet like I normally would, so it may be either a chest rig, or it might even be something on the bike, either looking back at me or possibly from behind me, looking at my back to check out my body posture, or body English, or whatever they call it these days. Also, there might be a little bit of a break in the videos due to the MOT running out on this next week. So there might be a spate of no videos for probably about maybe a week. I'm hoping less, but thought it'd be best to let you guys know now, so that you don't start wondering where the videos are and why they aren't coming out, and so on and so forth. Admittedly, I have got a sort of redo of the V2 video that I did. It's not of me riding the V2 as such, it's more a case of recapping what I well, not recapping, but revisiting everything that I remember from the actual test ride itself. As with the weather being as shitty as it was, I couldn't really voice my opinions very well, if that makes any sense, because obviously the bike wasn't mine. I didn't really want to push the bike any harder than what I was, because at the end of the day, it's not my bike. If I had said, do you know what, if I break it, I bought it, that's a different story. But unfortunately, no, I am not that mental. Plus, I'm also not that wealthy. If I could afford it, then yeah, it's a different story. But considering my current financial situation, the outlook of me getting a new bike is kind of a distant one at the minute. That doesn't mean to say that I won't get another bike, because trust me, I want another bike. I really fucking want another bike. And thanks to watching Lamb Ride's most recent video of the Ducati Panigale V4 Street Fighter, I really want to have a go on one now. So thanks Lamb Chops for that. That's really made me want to have a go on one now. Going back to the 5 things that I love and what 5 things I don't really love about this bike. One of the things I'm really starting to get fucking fed up with this bike is the how sensitive it is. It's like the bike had a £2,000 engine rebuild less than a year ago, and now it's sprung a fucking oil leak. It's like, come on, behave. It's not like I'm not asking for this sort of shit to happen, it just does. I have to be, probably without shadow of a doubt, the most unlucky Ducati owner going. I fucking hate the fact that I have to keep sending her off to be fixed and repaired and whatever else. It really does drive me mad. But this is the sacrifices you make for owning a Italian beauty like this. You know, when they say Ducatis are divas, they ain't fucking wrong. But then again, I suppose any highly strong machine or person is like that. You know, I can be like that sometimes if I want to be. but I ain't no fucking Italian diva, do you know what I mean? Oh, pardon me. For example, after having the engine rebuild, I thought everything was fine, but I don't know whether it's because I'm riding the bike a lot harder than I used to, or whether it's something else, but I've noticed that she sprung a little oil leak, and it's coming from the oil cooler. I have done a little bit of research into this, and apparently it's a common fault with both 848s, 1098s and 1198s, surprisingly. And that problem is that where the engines are so vibey, obviously with it being a big twin, they do rattle loose, or should I say parts rattle loose, not the whole fucking engine. I just had to point that out. After doing a little bit of digging on YouTube, well, not YouTube, sorry, on Facebook with all the groups that I'm on, it turns out that it's quite a common issue. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of how common it is, by all accounts it's about a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 in some cases. I mean, I've had people in the forums saying, oh yeah, it's a common thing, just nip it up, blah 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 blah, which I have tried, believe me, I've tried, but there's probably maybe another quarter of a rotation that I could go through in terms of trying to tighten up the union joint or the junction joint or whatever you want to call the fucking thing. There are still those little bits that I can attempt to tighten up again. I have, however, ordered a replacement set of O-rings and washers, so that over the next couple of days or week or whenever I get around to doing it, I will be able to get in there, get the oil out, change the washers and the O-rings, and put the bitch back together. That's the plan. Whether that happens or not is another fucking matter, because, you know, life loves getting in the way. Oh, and I've got a bit of good news as well today. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous video, but approximately 18 months ago, my poor old dad suffered from a stroke. In terms of what type of stroke that was, I honestly can't remember, but it affected his eyesight somewhat. The best way I could describe it is that he had lost approximately about maybe 10 degrees worth of vision out of his right eye, and it happens to be his blind spot side that he's lost the vision in. So we thought, you know, as a family, you know, it's a tragic thing, you know, he's had a stroke, blah 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 blah, and he was told that he had to surrender his driving license because of the eyesight issue. So he did, and then approximately 16 months later, he was told that he was told by a friend of ours that he could potentially get his license back should he be able to get an optician's report, or potentially a doctor's report on whether his vision's improved enough to mean him safe to drive. Sorry, in which saying he is safe to drive. So he went for an eye test today, and like I said, he had a stroke about 18 months ago now. So, you know, we thought that was it. We thought he wasn't going to be able to get his license back, that was it, no more driving, yada yada yada, or so we thought. But thankfully, the opticians have said that his eyesight's improved enough to where they believe that he could potentially be safe to drive. And in all honesty, I know it's not motorcycle related, but Dad, I'm absolutely fucking ecstatic for you. I really am. I know you're not really into the whole YouTube thing and watching videos, but if you ever watch this video, Dad, I am so happy for you. I'm really glad that you could potentially be able to get your license back and drive again. I'm so glad and so happy for you that you're able to potentially drive again. So really, this video has gone from being just about the good points and the bad points of this bike, all the way through to a happy ending for my dad, which in itself is a miracle, because my dad's no spring check-in. He's somewhere in the I think he's what, 63 this year, and usually when you get to that sort of age, if you have a stroke, you're not likely to recover very well. You know, it's just a law of averages. But he, you know, I'm blessed that you know, my family is so blessed, and my dad is so lucky, and you know, I'm so thankful that he was able to get the treatment he needed to be able to get back on the road, hopefully, and all of that. But yeah, I don't want to get too gushy over it, because you people might think I'm fucking soft or losing the plot. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, saying thank you for watching. Make sure you look after yourselves and each other. Be safe on the roads, stay away from COVID-19, and as always, adios.